You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the March 28th, 2023 meeting of the LaPorte County Plan Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
We're going to call the LaPorte County Plan Commission for Tuesday, March 28, 2023 to order. Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If you have any cell phones, turn them on silent or mute for us, unless you're emergency services. Roll call, please.
Tony Hendricks.
Here.
Glenn Minnick.
Here.
Joe Haney.
Present.
John Carr.
Here.
Rita Beatty.
Here.
Harold Parker.
Present.
Deb Vance.
Here.
Earl Cunningham.
Present.
We have a quorum. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Any changes, additions, deletions, corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the minutes for November 22nd, 2022.
I'd move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
There's a motion to approve the minutes as presented for November 22nd, 2022. Any additions, changes, corrections, deletions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Approval of the minutes for January 24th, 2023.
Move to approve.
Second.
I'm adding 2023 because this copy says 2022. All right. There's a motion and a second to approve the minutes from January 24th, 2023. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Petition number 1. Petitioner Irish Rentals LLC, represented by Whiteman, would like to present the Plan Commission secondary final plat for the final phase of Wagner Estates 2, consisting of 18 lots near the intersection of County Road 800 North, County Road 125 East, LaPorte, Indiana, Galena Township, Zoned A, consisting of 25.42 acres. There will be street construction exhibits attached here. Is notice sufficient, or this is second meeting?
Notice adequate.
All right. Podium is open to the petitioners.
Hi, Nathan Flickner with Whiteman, 715 South Michigan Street, South Bend, Indiana. Just looking for the secondary approval of the plat and review of the construction plans, and
All right.
here for any questions you have.
Anything from the building commissioner from the plat meeting?
We did not actually have a plat committee for this, but we did communicate via phone and email. Since they were here last time, there's been several updates to the plans, including the grade.
Any questions from the plan commission? So the changes so far are the grade, the steep slope on the cul-de-sac
Yes.
to the north.
Yeah, we brought the cul-de-sac end up a little bit and cut the hill down to soften that grade coming into the cul-de-sac.
Just got a question for our Mitch or for Mike. The grade is sufficient now?
I believe so, yes. They made it better than what was pretty steep the first go around.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? Hearing none, we'll open the floor for any remonstrators for or against the petition for Wagner Estates 2, 18 lots, 125 east and 800 north, 25.42 acres. Is there any remonstrance for or against the petition for the secondary final approval of Wagner Estates 2?
You asking for anybody
Yes.
who wants to
Yes, state your name and
comment on
address.
it? Name's Rich Mockler, 8255 North, 125 East. I'm the property bordering this subdivision on the south side, on the north side, excuse me. I'm sorry I missed the first meeting, but I wasn't in the area. I was wondering what you're going to do with your drainage out there, quite frankly, and who follows up after the construction guys are gone through the years to take care of the drainage of the new yards that are being put in? Who does that?
Okay, so the LaPorte County Highway Engineer is a professional engineer, and he reviews the drainage to make sure that they are retaining any water and releasing any stormwater after the 100 years, so there will be actually less water coming off. And who follows up would be the Drainage Board. Their next meeting would be the Drainage Board for an urban drain petition, so we can assess the lots and pay for any maintenance or updates they need for that drainage system that they install.
I've been there about 23 years. I was there before the subdivision was put in. I've experienced a lot of soil erosion on my property since that subdivision was put in. I've talked to your county highway through those 23 years twice. I think the last time they came out was about 2.5, maybe 3 years ago. I don't have all the dates together, I'm sorry, but if you guys want to know, you'll know. What's the idea behind a drain, a storm sewer drain? What's it supposed to do?
So the requirements for the zoning ordinance are a 100-year rain and a 10-year release rate. So typically what's coming off that, I don't remember if that's tilled field or is that grass right now, they would have to calculate the stormwater drainage runoff for a 100-year storm, and then they would have to release it at a 10-year rate.
Okay. What's the simplest way that thing should function?
It should handle all the stormwater drainage and release it at a rate that's approximately a
What if
tenth.
it's not handling any of the stormwater runoff?
That should never happen. Because I think I've been on your side about 3 years ago. You're just north of there with the creek.
I can take you to 2 of them if you want to come knock on the door one day. I can show you a picture from Google Earth. It's on my phone. I can bring it to all you. When the house was put in on the southwest corner, all the dirt coming right off that property, going out into the street. You guys brought your sweepers out there to clean it up 3 times one summer. That goes down the road, and then they bypass their pond. Because these people never tapered their yard to go to the manhole that's in the yard.
That front face right there on 125.
So anyway, so what you did is you cut the side of the road out and threw a rock in it, basically bypassing your retention pond. That's exactly what you did. Instead of putting a ditch in there, you went down, and now it dumps straight on my property. And it's gone so many years, actually, that you don't even know there's rock there because it's all full of dirt and grass now. But it's in my ditch. I've cleaned it out twice.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks for bringing us, because I was out there like 3 years ago, and I know this retention drainage system will not flow into that one. This is a separate, or on the other side of the hill. But I'm glad you brought that back up, because I didn't know you were still having problems.
Well,
I know
you got
exactly
a street drain right there.
Mm-hmm. And they have a controlled outflow of that pond that's not getting to.
Yeah, and why it's
not going
controlled, the one on the north is controlled because it's higher than what the water level will ever reach. So it comes down the street, out into the road, and then back down the road again, washes out my driveway, my neighbor's driveway. And it's been doing it for years. Oh, we'll come out and do it. You know what? All they needed was a few guys or a small piece of equipment. You could have cut a trench to that manhole and picked up that 1 yard over there.
Yes.
And also the new people that moved in, do they even know that manhole's there? Their backyard, that is the lowest lot in all of it. If you look at it from Google Earth, you can see how wet the soil is right there. Those people should have tapered their yard into that manhole to use it, and it's going to be wet. So who follows up? Who watches these people after they've got up and left? Because I've called your people out a number of times. Oh, we'll do something about it. You know, the young fella, he just hired in shortly after Bob left, Bob Young. And there was a new guy that came out there from the county highway.
Dwayne Warner.
Yeah, he comes out and I says, all I want is, just cut a ditch alongside the road there. So what did he turn it into? About a $30,000 job. He said, if I'm going to do any of that, I'm going to put a ditch in, starting up on top of that hill and run it right on down. So I said, well, That's the end of that, you know, and nothing got done about it.
Well, we have a commissioner here that can direct that, and I can help you direct that too. So we'll look into it. So as a drainage board liaison, I can help that, and the commissioner.
And the street drain on the north side needs to be lowered.
Yes.
So it'll pick up the water. It works great like it is, because you know why? It comes up there, it comes out around the drain, it dumps all the dirt right there. Well, now they don't have to do maintenance to clean the storm sewer out, because the dirt's not going into them. I've been going on 23 years here talking to the county highway and your storm drainage guy, and I'm here tonight. And I don't want to see this keep going with no one. You talk to anybody, well, I know who to get a hold of. Well, they don't give us any money to take care of this, is what they tell me. There's no money to do anything with this on. Well, what's the ditch off the side of the road now? That's, you guys got it, what, 8 to 10 foot? Is yours to take care of, right?
Yeah, it's county highway.
And being that was turned over to you, is that, from what I understand, that's correct? That has been rezoned, that's no longer agricultural in there?
Yeah, it's residential.
So it's up to the county highway to take care of that.
Yeah, that's county highway.
So why do they tell me they got no money? There's no money in the kitty to work on any of this stuff. That's what they tell me. That's the story I get. You got some good guys working there. I mean, they're saving you money left and right, you know. I mean, especially if they're telling everybody in the county this.
I understand they probably don't have any money, so we will look into it. But this drainage is separate from the drainage that goes out to the 125. This drainage will go in its own pond. So this shouldn't add any to your problem.
So that's fine. Who's it going to dump on then? Because it's going to have to dump on somebody. It's going to dump on my neighbors then?
The north
And
field.
are they aware of what's going to happen to them?
Well, the calculations would be a 10-year release, so they should see a reduction in drainage off this.
I was told this too,
Yes.
and I haven't seen it yet.
And our county highway engineers, the PE that reviews those and make sure they,
Would anybody like to see the pictures of that drainage, where that's draining at?
I don't think that's up for consideration because that's a different
All right.
phase and a different watershed.
Sounds about right. I kind of expected that.
All right, thank you. Any other
Okay.
questions?
All right, and what all is rezoned out there then? Is my property also rezoned, or am I still agricultural?
I guess you'd have to look at Beacon to see what the zoning is. I don't know off the top. I would presume you're still ag.
Okay.
Sir, if you could send me an email with your concerns in it. We have a new highway superintendent this year.
Yeah.
And I'll make sure it gets into his hands, and we get some fresh eyes to take a look at that.
Can you give me your email or?
I'd be more than happy
right
to.
tell me? All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Excuse me, sir. I don't want you to think that there's nobody up here that wants to hear that, but we don't have any authority over that issue. We're on a different issue. I think Mr. Haney has just stepped up to the plate and said, get with the commissioners, because they are taking care of the drainage problems around the county.
Well, I've talked to Mr. Morzinski. He was really not, he was busy judging chickens, and he couldn't come out to my place, so he, sent me to someone else to me. He says, we'll take care of this for you. I've been out there a while. I've been seeing what's going on. I never had that kind of water running across my property before they put that subdivision in. I've had to put rock in and everything else. What they told me to do was to put spillways into my own property. They wanted me to pay to fix the water problem they've got out on the street. So I just want to know, I just want to make sure that whatever they do out here, that someone keeps watching them and keeps track of this, okay? I've got a waterway, grass waterway, basically is what goes through my yard that takes this off. Okay, and I understand it, and it's there, and it's great, because it feeds a wetland
Yes.
to the north of me.
That wetland north of you.
And so I could get back to my property, I put a culvert in. It runs right parallel with my neighbor's driveway culvert. It's filled up. The culvert is filled up this far.
With sand, silt?
Yeah.
All right.
And I've shoveled it out 3 times. I got about a 6-foot pickup bed full of dirt both times that I've done it. And the neighbor's, his is filled up also. And so these people can make money off of putting in subdivisions. Me and my neighbor got to pay for putting new culverts in our waterways.
We hope the county
So-
highway has been doing a good job the last 3 months, so we'll see if we can get them back out there for you.
Well, all right, appreciate it.
We have a new administration on the commission this year as well as.
Oh, we'll get out there.
As well as new highway superintendent, so we'll come out and we'll take a fresh look at it.
Joe Hanny,
All
want me
right.
to pick up that card from you now, or?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Are there any other remonstrators for or against the petition? Any remonstrators for or against the petition? One on Zoom? Seeing none. Public comment is closed. Any discussion from the commission? Any discussion from the plan commission? Any discussion from? We're okay. We're looking for a motion for the petition.
I'll make a motion to approve.
There's a motion for favorable recommendation to the commissioners for approval of Wagner Estates 2 Phase B. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? One nay. One final comment for the developer. The drainage, this will be an urban drain at some point, so as a liaison to the drainage board, we'll be looking and make sure you have some sort of safety shelf in that pond since it's deep. Thank you.
You're talking the 4-foot down ledge.
Oh, I gave my,
Oh, sorry. Are you talking the 4-foot down ledge?
yeah,
in the
safety
pond?
license, you have a deep pond.
Okay.
So anyone, if they somehow get in the pond, they won't go deeper than 3 or 4 feet.
Okay.
I gave my agenda away, so I gave my agenda away to. Petition number 2, Love's Travel Shops. I believe they're on, yes, they're on Zoom.
Notice adequate.
Notice is adequate. Is there a representative from Love's?
Yes. Can you all hear me?
Yes. Floor is yours.
I've got my civil engineer, Dave Tiber, here, who's going to do the presentation, but I'm here for Q&A when you guys have some questions.
All right, so petition number 2, Love's Travel Shops and Country Stores, represented by Say So Incorporated, present to the Plant Committee, to the Plan Commission, a proposed PUD with fueling stations, convenience store and restaurant, truck tire repair facility, truck wash located intersection of U.S. Route 421, County Road, West 300 North, Michigan City, Indiana, Cool Spring Township, Zone B3, consisting of 56.397 acres. The floor is yours.
Hello, thanks everyone. What we're bringing forward today, it's actually kind of an addition to what we've approved in the past with the prior improvements for the Loves. The previous application we had the country store, or as most people call it, maybe the fuel station, and then we had the truck parking area in the back, the truck fueling, and we also had a Speedco tire shop. But that application was approved last year, and we've been working very patiently with everyone on this project. So, since then, Loves would like to add a truck wash to the tire shop at the kind of north end of the site. This is kind of a newer amenity that Loves is starting to add to their sites. So it would, I believe it reduces it does take away one of the truck service bays, but does add two truck wash bays. So it's an additional service that Loves can offer to their travelers. So that resulted in a change in floor area of the building. So that's one of the reasons that we're coming back before you today, because that change requires a PUD approval because it increases more than 5% of the floor area. The second change that we're going to have is we're looking to do a replat. And at the far north corner of the site, we have the high-rise sign that kind of fronts the interstate. And there's been some changes in I believe the Indiana state laws that require one contiguous parcel all the way back to that sign. We had originally planned to just have that sign provided through a sign and an access easement. So that approach is no longer allowed. So what we're actually proposing here will, at the end of the day, will be a replat, and it will combine the new land purchased by Loves with the previous parcel that they've already have. And then the last item we're looking to change is actually to the C-store itself. And we're looking to, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Frank, we're going to remove the Chester's Chicken, and it'll just be a Godfather's and a Taco John's. So it'd basically be reducing one of the food tenants. This would also reduce the floor area of that building a little bit. So we'd like to, another reason that we're back for reapproval there. Go ahead.
I'm just ready to take over if you're done. I was just going to kind of elaborate on some of this. As most of the people in the room know, we've been working on this project for, I think it's 6 years now. And we've gotten past several hurdles, the largest and last of which was with the pipeline company, TC Energy, and they were great to work with us. And they had to do a commercial development over their pipeline. They have to upgrade it to certain federal standards. That's what they agreed to, and that's what they've been doing. And they're supposed to be done here in 2 weeks on April 12th or 13th, which will open us up to be able to construct the store finally. These additions that Dave has talked about have all, these are the law that changed about the high-rise sign is one thing that has occurred since we've worked on this project. The truck wash is a new initiative that Love started less than 18 months ago, kind of company-wide. And Chester's is, we are a Chester's franchisee, but we are no longer opening Chester's just because of operational issues and performance. So we've expanded our Love's hot, fresh food program to go along with the Taco John's and the Godfathers. So those are just kind of the reasonings behind these changes. And they've really come because of as you know, as this project has gone along, initiatives in our company have changed a little bit. And so we are implementing those before we build this store. That's really all this is.
All right, any questions from the commission? Hearing none.
I do have one question, Mr. President. We're adding some land for the signage. Does that increase the 17 acres, or is that included in the proposal tonight?
So the actual purchase that we ended up, the land that we have already purchased, I believe is 21 acres. And this is, I hope you have a diagram in front of you. It's kind of a strip of land. We already had an access easement there, and now we're purchasing that land, and it's, I think, an extra 3.32 acres. So we'll have about 24 acres when it's all said and done. I believe Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we closed on that purchase just last week, just in time for this replat.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I have a question. Do you have a time frame for construction?
Typically, our construction takes about 200 days, but we've learned ways to kind of shorten that if we can. But really, it's 7 to 8 months, and this is a major project, so we want to get it started. We want to build it this year. If we wait until June or July, then our construction window that far north is closed. So that's a long way to answer your question, but I hope we open it around Thanksgiving or mid-December.
So are you starting it then, I take it, within the next month or two?
Yes.
Everything goes?
Yes, sir.
Do you, so I appreciate, your patience in this, this whole time, and appreciate how you've worked with all the entities that you've worked with, and, with construction coming up, I think it's important that you keep working with people in the community in regards to local contractors and the local trades when you build your project. and make sure that all your contractors are licensed and registered with our building department. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir, they will be. We have lots of GCs, I don't know the number right now, maybe 10, that follow us around the country and build our stores, but over 70% of the subcontracting work is bid and awarded locally.
Thank you. I guess before I go to the plat committee meeting, I think everyone wants this project to move forward as quickly as possible, and we don't want to hold it up and possibly bring something back. So I believe at the plat committee, they were discussing to make sure you have widen your latitude as much as possible in this PUD to make sure that it covers everything you need or potentially might change, so that we don't hold you back up another month. Mike?
So one thing, we're still working on finalizing our drawings with this project. So we're actually looking to maybe make some changes to the drawings that we presented, because we haven't fully incorporated all the changes that we just talked about, specifically to the Love's building with the improvement of the Love's Hot Fresh Food. So there may be some changes. So I don't know if there's a way to provide approval tonight that's maybe conditional upon getting maybe final permit approvals per se, because I think we might have some changes that result in the floor area.
Well, but I'll say this, Dave, the building will not get bigger than what they've already approved.
Right, and we're actually looking to make it smaller, and it would actually add, I think it's maybe 7 or 8, maybe 10 parking spaces.
This building is going to be what we call a tier 0, and we only have 10 or 12 of those around the country, but it's contrary to the number, it's our newest model. So it's a very modern, fresh looking building inside and out, and you guys will be impressed with what you see, but I don't know what the closest one to you would be. Anyway, that's why the building grew before our last approval, was because we wanted to change it into a tier 0, and it still will be.
I'm seeking help from the building commissioner, the planner, or the plan commission attorney, because we don't want you to, we don't want to pigeonhole you. So if you had a number like between, 10,000 and 30,000, you still have some leeway up and down through the PUD, and that's where we got stuck before, is that you bumped up against the possible maximum leeway that we can allow you in the PUD ordinance, right?
I would agree, Mr. President. I would add, and we went over this at Plat Committee, and the consensus is, ask for anything that you could foresee that you would need now, so that you don't have to come back in case there's a greater than 5% change in the future.
If you know a minimum square foot or a maximum square foot, you might want to add 20% to it, so you fall within that range and you still get a 5% leeway, right?
Understood. The building that I believe we've already gotten approved, a building that's over 12,000 square feet. Is that correct?
Is it 12,000?
So if you had a 12,000 square foot building in this plan unit development, and again, I'm asking for our planner and our legal advice, could they say this plan would have a building that ranges from 8,000 to 15,000, and it doesn't matter where you are within that range, and still the 5%?
He talked about taking out Chester's and adding parking lots. So the impervious surfaces is going to change either way. And that's fine. That's applicable, what you're saying. That's not an issue at all.
Okay.
I would just add, we're going to need drawings on the additional parking in the floor area because of the removal of Chester's. But that can be dealt with at the building department level. I don't think that should have.
You can do a motion with the no less than and no more than parameters on square footage. That way, he would have discretion if they do make changes. We don't have to come back.
Okay.
Could we say that we just won't increase by more than 5%, and if any reduction in building is allowable.
Well, we get, the building commissioner gets a 5% allowance either way. We're trying to give you a buffer between a range that you can still move within that and still be within the 5% and not come back here.
If we said between 10 and 14,000 square feet, I know we'd fall within that range.
So if you said 10,000, the building commissioner could still grant you 5% less or 5% more of that
Right.
range. I'm just trying to make sure that the commission understands the rules, that if the motion is that, we need to put that in the motion so Mike and you are covered to actually start building this without coming back another month. For whatever reason, something might change.
And so to be clear, are we asking for a range of 10,000 to 14,000?
For what? For one of the buildings or for the whole project?
No, for our travel center building, just the travel center, just the convenience store.
Okay. So it's getting confusing, but they have a plan unit development in front of us that lays out what they're doing with specificity. But they might have a not to exceed or not to be less than 10,000, not to be more than 14,000 for the building itself.
All right, the specs you all have on the Speedco with the truck wash, those are up to date and accurate, right, Dave?
Yeah, because it reflects the 3 service bays and 2 truck wash bays.
Right. So that building won't change. I'm just talking about taking out the Chesters is honestly a pretty minor thing. It doesn't take up much space, but I don't want to get approved for a specific square footage and then deviate 5% and have to come back. So if you all can legally accept a range, that would be great.
All right. I just want to get that up on the commission because we have now opened the floor for any remonstrators for or against the petition. So we're going to open the floor for anyone for or against a petition for a plan unit development of proposed Love's travel stop as amended. Is there anyone in the audience for or against the petition? Anyone on Zoom? Public comments closed. So I'll wrap up. They have a plan unit development. They have a replat of this plan unit development, which is really just, again, 2 lots, a revised Lot 1 and a revised Lot 2. For the public record, Charles Hendrickson Associates, PC, did work with US 421 Partners, LLC, and we have no financial interest in this project. And this is a Love's and US 421 project. So for the record, I did work on the north Lot 2, but we have no longer have any interest in it. Anything from the commission? No, it's confusing. So, yeah. The motion would be to accept the revised plan unit development and the revised secondary plat for Love's Truck Stop with a not to be less than 10,000 square foot, not to be more than 14,000 square foot for the main building of the truck stop.
The travel center.
The travel center.
So move.
Wait a minute, one other.
There's a motion. Is there a second? We can have a discussion.
Second.
There's a second. Okay, we can have some discussion. Any discussion?
We just already discussed this with them, and they're going to increase from 17 acres to 24 acres.
Yeah, that's in the revised subdivision plat.
That's not, we don't have that here for the motion also.
So
But what we have here,
their revised Lot 1 will be, looks like it's 23.4767 acres.
you want to put that in the motion? Or not?
Yes.
Okay.
The Lot 1 will be revised to 23.467. Is there addendum to the motion?
Yes.
Is there a second to the addendum?
Second.
Any other discussion? So we are accepting the revised secondary plat for Love's Truck Stop, the plan unit development as presented with a codicil of not to be less than 10,000, not to be more than 14,000 for the truck stop. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you for
your
building.
patience.
Hope to see you soon. I see the pipeline is moving forward very fast.
It is. They'll be done in a couple of weeks. We'll be very happy to.
Yeah.
I'll be very happy personally to get this store open.
Anything to say about it out there? You're sitting there. They're happy. They're smiling.
Can't wait to get diesel.
Okay. Item number 7, any old business? Mike?
Nothing from me. I'll defer to legal and planner.
Mitch?
Nothing,
No old business. Any new business?
nothing.
No new business. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.